Okay, so this is going to be a video for objective 33. Um, so make sure you've grabbed your money textbook. If you don't have it, pause the video, go grab your money textbook. It looks like we're on page 57 in the money textbook, looking at objective 33. This will probably be one of the shorter ones we've had in a while here. Let me cut this out and we will get started. Catch that whole thing here. Okay, so what we're starting to look at here is the title of objective 33 is determine the percent of a total monthly budget represented by one category. So in a way, some of this, the math we're going to do is something we just did last quarter, working with percents. So you can see up here, this is something that should look a little familiar. Earlier this year we talked about having a part over a whole. That's a way to find a percent. When you take part divided by whole, you'll get the percent as a decimal. Then you move it 2 spots to the right and you'll get the actual percent. So let's start looking at a couple problems. Again, I think there's 6 problems that we'll look at, but these will go probably faster than the last couple objectives that we've done. So number 140 here says a pie chart shows a monthly budget. It says to the nearest whole percent. Okay, so we're going to be rounding it after we're done. It says what percent of the monthly budget is spent on his housing. Okay, so they give a pie chart here. It shows the amounts he spends for each category in a month. We are focused on the housing. Okay, so what we have to do is set up this fraction here, part over a whole. The part that we're looking at is the housing. So you can see I already have that on the top over here. So that's the part, housing. And then we got to put on the bottom, the whole, in this case, is the total. Okay, right here, that we want to look at. Okay, so to find the total, we look at all the costs that he has for this month. Okay, and you can see I add them up here. Okay, this will include the part you're looking at. So you can see I put the insurance is 80, housing is 660, other is 320, car payment 120, and groceries 200. I add all those up, okay, and that is 1,380. That goes right there. Okay, so then what we do at this point is we just divide. Make sure you do this in the correct order. Top divided by bottom, so 660 divided by 1,380. In your calculator, you're going to get 0.47826, and it continues on. Okay, so we move this twice. 1, 2. We would get 47.8 something percent. It says to the nearest whole percent, so we have, this is the number we're rounding to, the whole percent. We look at the number after it, so remember our rounding rules. 0 to 4, this would stay a 7. 5 to 9, this bumps up to an 8, and we get our 48%. Okay. This problem, if for some reason you got stuck, I don't think it's a very difficult problem, but because this is multiple choice, this is a problem where you could probably actually do this without doing much math, just because of the choices. If this circle graph is made correctly, this section here is basically almost half of the circle. Not quite, but almost half. If you look at the choices, the only one that's even close to half is this, the 48%. Okay? Now you're not going to be able to do that on all the problems, but there's one problem where you could pretty quickly do this problem without doing all the math. Okay? Now I showed you how to do the math because there's other problems where you're going to have to. It's not going to be easy by looking at it. So next problem, 141 here. This table shows monthly budget for his second year of college. The budget does not include his costs for school. What percent of his monthly budget is spent on transportation costs? So again, one thing in this one, that second sentence is really just extra information. It's nothing that we have to consider for the problem. We are just worried about the costs given and what percent of that monthly budget is spent on transportation. So we're basically going to do the same as last problem, it's just not a circle graph. So this is the one we're worried about, okay, which is $32. That is our part. They asked for percent on transportation, so that is right here. 32 is the part. Again, what we have to do is just find the total. Now that includes the part we're looking at. So we're just going to take all these, and you can see I add them up, and I get $450. That goes to the bottom of the fraction. Okay. So again, we just divide 32 divided by 450. We get 0.0711 something. Move it 2 to the right. We get 7.1%. And they're going to be rounding this. So we do our rounding rules. Since that's a 1, we keep it at 7%. Letter D. Okay. Now this one you can't really do just by looking at. It's not like the circle graph. And there's, they're pretty, a lot of these are kind of close in their numbers, so you actually have to do the math on this one. Okay, so there's the first two. We're gonna turn the page. So go to page 58. Let me cut this out. Okay, looking at number 142, this will be a lot like number 140. Okay, it says the pie chart below shows a monthly budget. What percent of her monthly budget goes to paying off debt? So there's a key word here, debt, debt. So we're looking at this section right here. Okay, now this one's not as easy to do by looking at as like number 140. We actually have to do the math because there's some choices here, especially A and B, that are very similar. Okay, very close. Okay, but we're going to set this up the same way. We had to do part over whole. Debt is $208.80. So that goes on the top. Okay, that's the part we're looking for. So that goes on the top. And then we need the total on the bottom. So again, I take all of these amounts, including the debt. That's included in the total. We add it all up. And that goes on the bottom. We divide 208.80 divided by 1,160. You're going to get exactly 0.18. Move it 2 to the right, and it's your 18%, letter B. Okay. Number 143 is again very similar to 141. Okay, again this chart shows a monthly budget. What percent of the total monthly budget is spent on groceries? So again, the part we're looking for is right here, which is $374. So that goes on the top. The bottom, we add all these numbers. So I just took my calculator, 561 plus 374 plus 506 plus 165 plus 594 equals $2,220. Or sorry, $2,200. That is the bottom number. That is the total. Take 374 divided by 2,200, and we get 0.17. Move it over, 17%. Letter C. Okay. All right, we got two more here. So we're going to turn the page to page 59. Cut that out. Okay. And again, we got very similar problems again. 44 is a pie chart. We want monthly budget. We're going to the nearest whole percent. What percent of the monthly budget does he put in savings account? So savings is right here. So we're looking at this. Again, this is not as easy as problem 140 where we can just look at it. There's some numbers here that are pretty close. 13, 10, and 8 are all fairly close. So we're looking at the part of savings. That's what they want. So that goes on top. So that's $75 is the part we're looking for. The total we need to put on the bottom. That's all these together, including the savings again. We add them all up. We get this $576.92. Okay. This one comes out to be basically exactly 0.13. There's some numbers on the very end of your calculator here, but we're going to go 1, 2, and it's going to be almost exactly 13%, and it says to the nearest whole percent, so it's going to be 13. Okay. And the last one for objective 33, again, we basically only have two types of problems here. We have a pie chart one and a regular chart. Again, we have a monthly budget. It says what percent the monthly budget was used to pay for her cell phone. Okay, so cell phone is right here, $155.20. So that is the top number. Again, the bottom we need to put the total. So we add up all these numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. We add them up. We get 1,940. That goes on the bottom. Again, just make sure you do the order correctly here. 155.20 divided by 1,940. You get 0.08. Move it over twice, and that's your 8%. Okay. So that's objective 33. A little bit quicker, a little bit easier than the ones we've done. Just make sure you do the steps right. Take advantage of having an easy one. After you've watched this, then you will go to your workbook. The next in line in your workbook says right here, practice 33, 34. So the next test will have both 33 and 34 on it. Go through, do what you need to. Maybe you only need to do 2 or 4 of these. There's 12 problems here. You probably do not need to do all 12 in this one. But again, here's the answers for that. Do however many problems you need to for objective 33. And then come back to check out video for objective 34. Again, if you have any questions, let me know.